If you're thinking about buying or selling a home in 2026, there are three things you need to know right now: mortgage rates, home prices, and how many homes are actually hitting the market. Because depending on what you're hearing in the news, you might think the housing market is crashing or that it's about to explode again. The truth is, neither one is happening. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what experts are predicting for the 2026 housing market and what it means if you're planning to buy or sell a home this year. And one of the biggest opportunities in real estate right now might surprise you. Let's start with what actually happened in the market last year. At the beginning of 2025, mortgage rates were close to 7%. By the end of the year, they had dropped into the low 6% range. That brought many buyers back into the market. At the same time, home prices didn't crash, but they also didn't rise nearly as fast as they had during the pandemic years, and inventory started to grow. There are now more homes on the market than we've seen in several years, moving closer to what the market looked like before COVID. So the story of last year was simple. Mortgage rates improved, home price growth slowed, and more homes came onto the market. Now let's talk about what experts expect in 2026. Most forecasts are describing this year with two words: steadier and stronger. That doesn't mean we're going back to the wild seller's market we saw in 2021, but it does mean the market is becoming more balanced. And that's actually good news for both buyers and sellers. Now, the question everyone wants answered is this: where are mortgage rates going? Most forecasts expect mortgage rates to stay somewhere in the low 6% range throughout 2026. Some experts believe we may briefly dip into the 5% range, but likely only for short periods. Think of it this way: when mortgage rates go up, they take the elevator. When they come down, they take the stairs. So instead of a dramatic drop, the expectation is a slow and steady improvement. Now let's talk about home prices. Most housing forecasts are predicting modest price growth this year. On average, experts expect home prices to rise around 1 to 2% nationally in 2026. That's very different from the double-digit growth we saw just a few years ago. And remember, real estate is always local. Some markets will see small increases, some markets may stay flat, and a few markets could even see slight declines. Another important factor that's improving is affordability. Three things determine housing affordability: mortgage rates, home prices, and wages. Right now, wages are expected to grow faster than home prices. That means buyers should slowly regain some purchasing power. For the first time in several years, the typical mortgage payment may drop below 30% of the average household income, which is considered the affordability benchmark. Now let's talk about inventory. Experts expect the number of homes for sale to increase by about 10% this year. That means buyers will have more choices than they've had in several years. But even with that increase, we still have a housing shortage. The reality is, we simply haven't built enough homes over the past decade to keep up with population growth. So even though inventory is rising, we're still dealing with an undersupplied housing market. So what does this mean if you're a buyer? You'll likely see slightly better mortgage rates, more homes to choose from, and price growth that is much slower than what we've seen in the past. That means less competition and more negotiating power than buyers have had in years. Now, if you're a seller, the market is still strong, but strategy matters more than ever. With more homes coming onto the market, buyers have more options. That means pricing, marketing, and positioning your home correctly are more important than ever. The days of simply putting a sign in the yard and getting 10 offers overnight are mostly behind us. But well-priced homes are still selling. The bottom line is this: 2026 is shaping up to be a healthier housing market. Not the chaos we saw a few years ago, but a more balanced market where buyers and sellers both have opportunities. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home and want to understand what's happening specifically here in the Oklahoma City market, I'd be happy to help. And if you want more updates on the housing market, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next report.